Hello class, so this is Ma'am Billion. So for this video lesson, we're going to discuss chapter 1.2, which is all about decimals. Okay, so when we say decimals, decimals provide another way to represent fractions and mixed numbers. They are used in measurement because it is easy to put them in order and to compare them. So this decimal numeration system is an extension of the place value system that we used when working with whole numbers. Okay, so decimals numbers are written by placing digits, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into place value columns that are separated by a decimal point. The place value names of all the columns to the right of the decimal part end in E. So yung sa the tells us that the value of the column is a fraction whose denominator is a power of 10. Okay? So columns to the left of the decimal point have a value greater than or equal to 1. Columns to the right of the decimal point have a value less than 1. So we can show the value represented by each digit of a decimal by using expanded notation. Okay, so, ayan. So, 42.38675912. So, paano po ba siya basahin? So, ones, tens, decimal point, hundreds, thousand, tens, thousands, hundred, thousands, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, tens. Okay, so, ayan po siya. So, yung 4, ones, yung 2 tens, then decimal point. Yung hundreds, ayan po yung 3, yung thousands, ayan po yung 8, then 10,000s yung 6, 100,000s yung 7, million, tens yung 5. So, ayan. So, hindi naman siya iisa-isa na. Okay? So, ayan po yung pasunod-sunod niya. Okay? So, the decimal point is used to separate the whole number part of the decimal from its fractional part. Okay? So, for example, 1/4. So, what is the decimal point or what is the decimal value of 1/4? So, 1/4 is nasa 0.25. Okay, so, ayun. Okay, so next, 15.67. So, the decimal 15.67 can be read as, ayan, so, 15.67. Another way of reading a decimal number, the whole number part first and then the fractional part. Okay, so to read a decimal, we shall consider the following rules. So first, number 1, look to the left of the decimal point and say the number or say the name of the whole number. Number 2, the decimal point is then read as n. Okay, so palagi po siya may n after decimal as a decimal point. And number 3, say the fractional part of the decimal as a whole number followed by the name of the place value column of the digit that is farthest to the right. Okay, so how to convert fractions to decimals and vice versa. So, in here, yung first lesson natin sa business math, yung about fractions. And then now is decimals. So, ano lang po ito, babalikan muna natin yung mga basic knowledge sa math before tayo mag-proceed sa main topics natin sa business mathematics. Kasi, gagamitin po natin ito sa next lesson natin, topics natin sa business mathematics. Okay? So, how to convert fractions to decimals and vice versa. So, fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. So, given an arbitrary fraction, it is not necessary to first write it as an equivalent decimal fraction in order to convert it into a decimal. Since the fraction bar in a fraction represents the operation of division, all you need to do is divide the numerator by the denominator. So, if the fraction is a proper fraction, its values is less than 1. So, we place a decimal point in the space where we write the quotient and divide as with whole numbers placing the digits after the decimal point. So you may write a 0 to the left of the decimal point to indicate that the value of the number is less than 1. Okay, so in the process of dividing the numerator by the denominator, two cases will arise. So first, the remainder will be 0 after a finite number of steps. So in this case, we get what we call a terminating decimal, which is a decimal with a finite number of decimal places. So number 2, another possibility is the remainder will never be 0. Okay, so the remainder will never be 0. Instead, we get a sequence of digits in the quotient which repeats over and over. So in this case, the decimal is called a non-terminating repeating decimal. It can be written by placing a bar over the digits which repeat in sequence. Okay, so let's proceed to the given example. So number 1, to write the fraction 5 over 8 as a decimal, divide 5 by 8 to obtain the terminating decimal, which is 0.625. So, sa calculator nyo, i-divide nyo lang to. 5 divide nyo sa 8. So, the result will be 0.625. So, number 2, to write 5 over 12 as a decimal, so divide 7 by 12 to obtain the non-terminating repeating decimal. So, ayan po yung tinatawag na terminating decimal and non-terminating repeating decimal. So, ito kasi is ulit-ulit na yung 3. So, sunod-sunod na po siya sa 3. So, 7 over 12, the answer is 0.5810. 33333. Walang katapusan na 3, okay? Number 3, to write 25 over 4 as a fraction, since as you can see, improper fraction po to kasi mas mataas yung numerator to denominator. So, paano ba yung gagawin natin if improper fraction? So, convert improper fraction into decimal. So, divide 25 by 4. Since the numerator is bigger than the denominator, the first digit part of the whole number of the quotient and is placed to the left of the decimal point. The rest of the digits of the quotient are placed to the right of the decimal point. So hence, the improper fraction 25 over 4 is equivalent to mixed decimal. Ito po, gagawin niyo po muna dito is, you're going to convert it into proper fraction. So, before nyo makukuha yung mix or yung decimal. So, which is mixed decimal, which is 6.25. Okay, so how to add and subtract decimal. So, addition and subtraction of decimals. So, similar to addition and subtraction of whole numbers, we add or subtract decimals by adding or subtracting the digits with the same place value. To do this, we need to align the decimal point so that digits with the same place values lie in the same column. So if there are not enough decimal digits in some of the numbers, add zeros after the last non-zero decimal digits so that all numbers will have the same number of decimal places. Addition and subtraction of decimals are illustrated in the example below. Okay, so let's proceed to the given example. Okay, so to evaluate the expression, so 3.25 plus 15.8 minus 6.218 plus 9.08 minus 12.97. Combine the numbers with like. So, pagsasama-samahin natin yung may magkakaparehas na operation, which is 3.250 plus 15 plus 908. Okay, so pagsasama-samahin natin sila. Then, minus, so, ayan, 6.218, then 12.97. Okay, then, so, dito sa 3.25, yung sa first na pinagsama-sama natin, i-add lang natin sila. So, 28.130 minus, yung sa second naman na column, 6.218 plus 12.970. then which is 19.188. So the total number is, so i-subtract natin sila, 8.942. So in here sa example natin ay combination of addition and subtraction. So pwede naman tayo, or hindi ko na kayo dito bibigyan ng yung sa addition and subtraction. So ito kasi pinagsama-sama na kasi madali lang naman siya. So pagsama-samahin nyo lang yung mga dapat pagsamahin. So para ma-sure nyo na tama yung solution, nyo na lang po sa calculator nyo. Okay? So observe that all the numbers are written with 3 decimal digits. So ito po, 8.942. So, lahat sila 3 decimal digits or 3 decimal digits, which is the most number of decimal digits among the given numbers. So, ayan, kung napapansin nyo is, halos lahat sila nasa 3 decimal digits. So, yun dun ang sagot niya. Okay? So, hindi siya pwede. Or, sa mga ibang cases, meron na, for example, sa given problem, 4 decimal digits, and then yung lumabas nasa 2 lang or 3 or mas mataas. So walang problema yun kasi depende naman yun sa result ng ng given problem. Okay? So let's proceed to the multiplication of decimals. Okay, so multiplication involving decimal is similar to multiplying whole numbers. You only have to ensure that the number of decimal places in the product is equal to the sum of the number of decimal places in the factors. So, if there are not enough decimal digits in the product, you may add zeros before the leftmost non-zero decimal digit to fix the position of the decimal point. So, let's proceed to the given example. Example number 1. To find the product of 1.25 and 8.1, we multiply the digits like they are whole numbers to get 10,125. Okay, so i-multiply lang natin sila. Since there is a total of 3 decimal places in the factors, the product will have 3 decimal digits. So hence 1.25 multiply natin by 8.1, the answer is 10.125. Okay? So, ayan kasi 'di ba? 25.25 then 0.1. Pag inad natin sila is 3 decimal digits. So, of course, the result will have or will result to 3 decimal digits then. Okay? So, number 2 example. To find the product of 0.2625 and 0.357, we again multiply the digits like they are whole numbers to get, so ayan yung result niya, 937,125. Since there are 7 decimal places in the factors and only 6 non-zero digits in the product, we add a 0 as the leftmost digit to fix the position of the decimal point. Thus, give us, ito po siya class. So, mag-add tayo dyan ng 0 sa unahan. Dito po siya. Okay, so the answer will be 0.0937,125. Okay? So, ayan. Okay, so let's proceed to division of decimals. So, to divide a decimal by another, first, move the decimal point in both the divisor and the dividend. The same number of places to the right to convert the divisor to a whole number. You are actually multiplying both numbers by the same power often when you do this. So, you may then perform division as with whole numbers, carefully noting the proper position of the decimal point in the quotient. Okay, so for example, to divide 3.52 by 1.4, we first move the decimal point one place to the right in both dividend and divisor. So this is like multiplying both numbers by 10. So hence, the original division problem is equivalent to 35.215. Okay? So, ayan po siya kung napapansin nyo. Nag-move lang tayo ng one place, which is 35.215. 14. Okay? So, yung 2 nilabas natin. So, proceeding as with dividing with whole numbers, the first digit of the quotient is obtained by dividing 35 by 14, getting a quotient of 2 and a remainder of 7. So, since the next digit 2 of the dividend is already a decimal digit, we place the decimal point in the quotient after the first digit 2. So, continuing with the division, try this yourself. So, we get, okay, so ayan, so, divide nyo siya sa calculator nyo. So, we get 2.51 for 2857. So, the quotient is a repeating decimal. Okay? So, para ma-sure nyo yung tama yung sagot, try nyo po siya i-compute sa calculator nyo. Okay? So, number 2, to divide 0.5 by 1.6, move the decimal point one place to the right to get the equivalent division process. So, 5 divided by 16. So, yung 1.6, then 0.5 and 1.6, nag-move tayo ng one place. So, it will be 5 over 16. So, since the dividend is smaller than the divisor, we add a 0 after the digit 5. So that 0 is a decimal digit. Hence, we place the decimal point in the quotient before the first digit is determined. So, we get, okay, so I am, so 0.5 divided by 1.6, we have 0.3125. Okay? So, problem solving with decimals. So, how about if yung given decimal ay word problems? So, for example, for his quarterly project in mathematics, David bought the following items from the bookstore. So, 50 sheets of bond paper for 35.75 pesos, 4 folders at 11.75 pesos each, 3 multicolored pens at 25.95 pesos each, 2 pieces of cartolina at 18.75 pesos each, and a pack of color sticker paper which sells for 39.95 pesos per pack. If he gave the cashier, if he gave the cashier 300 pesos to pay for his purchases, how much change did he receive? Okay? So, ayan po yung mga total expenses or total price ng mga binili niya, and nagbigay siya ng 300 pesos. So, how much change did he receive? Okay? So, for the solution natin, so, the total amount of his purchases is 35.75 plus. Okay, so i-add lang natin yung mga total expenses or total prices ng mga binili niya. So, ayan. And, okay. So, yung total lahat-lahat ng binili niya is 266.05. Then, i-subtract lang natin siya sa amount na binigay niya sa cashier, which is 300 pesos minus 266.05 pesos is, so, yung change niya is 33.95 pesos. Okay? Okay, so the decimal numeration system. So, decimals provide another way to represent fractions and mixed numbers. They are used in measurement because it is easy to put them in order and compare them. So, decimal numeration system is an extension of the place value system that we use when working with whole numbers. So, you may not realize it, but you have often worked with the decimal numeration system because we use decimal notation with money. Okay, so decimal numbers are written by placing digits. Ay, naulit. Okay na pala, class. So, that's all for today's lesson. Okay, so if you have any question regarding our topic or regarding with our topic for today, so you may ask me sa GC or through Messenger. And then for your activity sa module ko na din po siya kukunin or ibibigay. And then, i-follow niyo lang po yung mga dapat gawin sa weekly plan natin. Okay, so goodbye class and see you on our next video lesson.